Hello there, today, the Friday, the 28th of June, 2024. This message is for the European Union Commission and the European Parliament, especially on the United States administrations as well. They put sanctions on some RSF leaders and some SAF leaders, Sudan Armed Forces leaders and Rapid Support Forces leaders, in order to push them for peace. And the question of Sudanese public and intellectuals, I'm talking now on behalf of them, around 50 million according to the estimation of Mr. Tom in his last speech. Why you didn't put sanctions on Hamidtي yet? And everyone, especially you own selves and Sudanese people, know that the 100% control of RSF is under Hamidtي, financial and military control is under Hamidtí. Why you didn't put sanctions on him yet? Do you think by this you are gaining the respect of Sudanese people? Sudanese people, these 50 millions, according to High Commission of Refugees, the people who leave Sudan to other countries around 1.8. So still there is 48 million people still in Sudan. And they're actually splitting themselves from area where RSF is controlling to area where SAF is controlling, where Sudan Army is controlling. Do you equalize both forces? How can you do that? And you know well that RSF solid forces are completely destroyed in Khartoum. And they're recruiting mercenaries from all over the place, Africa and out of Africa. And Sudan Armed Forces never recruited a single mercenary from out or inside. They just building an institution links to other countries. And they have their own people backing them. And by this, Sudan Armed Forces clean actually Africa from all homeless people who was crossing the Mediterranean to Africa. We finished them for you in this war. The 50 million still staying in Sudan are backing the Sudan Armed Forces. They're recruiting themselves to fight side by side to their forces, where Rapid Support Forces recruiting mercenaries from all over the place. So, how you compare 50 million people with a couple of thousands of people? How you equalize them? Those 50 people decided not to leave this country. 50 million people decided not to leave their country because this is their land and they are not going to leave it. So show some respect to Sudanese people. Behave with respect. Why we are going towards Russia or China? Why Africa nowadays is going towards Russia or Africa? Because those people, they just respect their minds. They respect them as humans. They deal with trade with them with very fair bargains. Win-win situation. They do not think at all about changing their ideology or religion. They treat them as humans. That's why all Western Africa, Central Africa, East Africa is now going towards East, towards Russia, China, Turkey, Brazil, the BRICS. And they do not go towards Europe or United States because their history in dealing with Africans is known to everyone. Ancestors of Africa told the successors of them, any grandfather told his grandson what exactly European did in Africa for their grandsons, fathers and grandmothers. The history is there. So treat African people with respect, they will respect you. But if you continue doing like this, you are just mocking and killing Sudanese and other African countries. You do not yet sack Hamidtي, whose whose people and forces commit a minute-to-minute atrocities. They actually broadcasting this by their own mobile phones live, and they are proud of doing that. How can you equalize between the legitimate institution of Sudanese people, which is Sudan Army, which is now by now 100 years old national institution, you equalize it with these mutineers who form an army and they now rebels. Do you accept this in any European country or in the USA Army? If any division of army became like rebels or leading a mutiny, are you going to allow him? Are you accepting other countries to support the mutineers before their people and army? This is not acceptable at all. So I think it is high time for the European Parliament and United States Administration and Euro Commission to revise their situation and respect the Sudanese people. Mr. Tom put a report before the Congress about Sudanese people. He met a couple of dozens in Egypt, Kenya, I believe, Ethiopia, and he never visited Sudan, where there is 50 million people. Do you think this is a representative sample to accept his opinion? This is not professional at all. And if this belief is well settled in the mind of Sudanese people, you will not find a place in Sudan in the future at all. And this is not good for everybody. Peace be upon you.